Hi guys, sorry about that. This is Gerry coming to you from Rythmia Life Advancement Center in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. It's a beautiful, slightly rainy day here. We have a wonderful week with Taita Juanito this week, serving medicine, which is always an amazing thing. A little bit about Rythmia. Rythmia is a life advancement center located in Guanacaste, Costa Rica that uses plant medicine and metaphysical teachings, courses, yoga, meditation, hydrocolonic cleanse, and then this overall course, the Rythmia way, to bring about this change. And the change is remarkable. A remarkable change occurs. What do I mean by a remarkable change? Well, next week is a big week for us as we have our 6,000th guest coming through. And 95.12% of them receive a life-changing miracle during their stay. That's 951.2 out of 1,000 people. Crazy. And what do we believe in? We believe in something that we were shown. Let's see if you can see that. And what happens is that sometime between when we're conceived and 5 years old, we split from ourselves, and that split creates all addiction, all disease, and all disorders going forward. It also creates unhappiness and things like that. So what we found out is when we put this back together, that many changes occur, and they occur in people's lives, and their lives get squared out. So what is the message today? My message today is about the 10-year overnight success. So what does that even mean? Well, when people come here and they re-merge back with their soul, a lot of good things start happening to them, and they end up picking things that can benefit them in the energy of money, the energetic exchange of money. Because a lot of people in the world are tuned in to money and judge a lot of things by money. So a little bit about me and why I'm able to talk about it. I became a millionaire in my 20s, meaning I saved $1 million in my 20s. I took a company public in my 30s for about $140 million, and then went broke, and then started another company at 38 that I sold at 42 for about $90 million. That netted down to about $61 million bucks. And I learned a lot of things in this process. Hi, Gerry. Hi, Marina. Hi, Mark. I learned a lot of things in this process, and here's something that is probably news to you. Anybody who's telling you that there's an easy way or a shortcut to financial success is lying to you. They're lying to you. They're selling you something, and what a great sale. That'd be like saying, you can the fountain of youth without working out. Like there's all kinds of scams out there. And when something rings like a scam, it probably is. Here's the truth of this thing. And you might say it's not true, but I want to tell you. In my experience, this is a 10-year ordeal. Mastery of anything is a 10-year ordeal. There's already science about it that says it's 10,000 hours, which equates roughly to a 10-year ordeal. So what does that mean? This means that when I start my journey to the thing that I want to attain mastery over, that I know it's not going to be an overnight thing, that I know it. And then that I plan accordingly. And I know that it's going to be a 10-year thing. And I'll tell you what, at our place right now, Rythmia, we're 5 years through. And we're starting to do good. So what I'm telling you, in most vocations, the first 5 years is learning it. The second 5 years is making money from it. Because once you gain mastery on something, start to gain mastery, you can start to demand a little more money. And that then the next 5 years you make money. Then at the 10th year you decide if you want to stay in it and become the best at it there is or not. And so a lot of you say, well, what about lottery winners? Well, I'm going to tell you, people that get the energy, the financial energy from the lottery, 70% of them are bankrupt in 5 years. That's crazy stuff. And it's because they weren't energetically ready for this thing, right? Because when it comes the right way, through the right way, like it does through nature, and I'll explain to you about flow in a second, like it does through nature, then what happens is it's easily maintained. When it comes the wrong way, it dissipates. So when we're taking a look at this, and we know that we picked our vocation from a centered place, here's why you have to pick it from a centered place. Because when you start your business from a centered place, or you start your consultancy from a centered place, or you start your healing business from a centered place, you know that you love it enough to go the whole 10 years. That's it. Now, what most of us do is most of us spend a life in startup, which means I try this and it doesn't seem to work. I try this and it doesn't seem to work. I got 2 years, I got 3 years, I got 4 years, I got 2 years, I got 3 years. Next thing you know, I'm 58 and I never, ever, ever, ever got the ball in the hole yet. Never. It's easy mistake to make because you believe. Why is the mistake made? Because you read some shit that told you it could happen quick. And when you're in it 2 or 3 years and it doesn't work, you give up and you go to the next thing. Very few people are fucking great at something the first minute they pick it up. Michael Jordan got kicked off his high school basketball, didn't make his high school basketball team. So a lot of us are not good at anything like when we start. But if we love it and sustain, it works. So please, when I see people, and this is the thing with me, is that I would do that. I would go in 10 years, and then I would switch things and do 10 years. But I would make sure that I cashed a check before I switched, that I got good at something, really good at it, before I switched. And if you don't choose from your heart, you will never make it 10 years. If you're doing something to make money, and 3 years into it, it's not really working the way you want. The bloom is off the rose. Let's say you started out trying to be a healer, and you're healing good, but now 3 years into it, you notice that people are needy, and it's harder than you thought, and it hasn't turned the corner yet, and you say, fuck it, I'm going to go to something else. Well, every time that you do that, and I mean every time that you do that, you're going to create problems for yourself because you're resetting it back to zero. If you take a look at nature, hang on a second. Come on. I had to let my dog in. If you take a look at nature, and people talk about being in flow, and you see a river, and the river is going through like the Snake River Canyon, and it's like just cruising through. Well, you know what it had to do? It had to burrow through stone to get there. So now I have to let the other dog in. This is crazy. Okay. And now they're going to have a little fight. Yeah. So the canyon has to burrow through this big problem, has to go through the stone, and then it can get in flow. Before that, it cannot happen. It's impossible for it to happen. So once you build your road, you can get in flow. So what does building your road look like? What does building your road, it looks like doing the fucking work in the first 5 years. The work that nobody wants to do, the heavy lifting. You know, and when people, there's coaches out there that say, hey, you don't have to do that, and people pay them big bucks for them to tell them that they don't have to do it. And it is not true. You have to do it. You have to go through and do the hard work to get the gift. It's just the way that it is. Now, this is what I tell my kids, yeah? I say, hey, look, 10 years is coming anyway. 10 years, if you're 18, you're going to be 28 no matter what. If you're 28, you're going to be 38. If you're 48, you're going to be 58. This is how the fuck it happens. If it's coming anyway, then I might as well get goddamn good at something. So that as I get older, and this is how this works, pay fucking attention to this. As I get older and I no longer want to work as hard as I used to, that the time that I spend working is valued at such a high rate that I make the same amount of money. So catch me on this. So when I started out, let's say I was charging people $100 an hour for a consult. I bet, and working a 40-hour week, let's say, or whatever the deal is, right? I better make sure that I get good enough at something that at 65 I can charge $400 or $600 an hour, because you're not going to want to work as hard. You're not going to want to work as hard, and because of that, people have to put a premium on your supreme abilities. Listen, the time is coming. People are living older and older, and now with stem cells and stem cell technology, you're going to see, I guarantee anything, within the next 20 years, they figure a way to add 30 to 40 years to the life expectancy. I'm not kidding you. And now you better have a way to make a living in your older years. You better have a way to do it. And if you keep switching and switching and switching and switching, it's just not going to happen. It will not occur. So let's come back to the beginning. What has to happen? Number one, we have to heal the split in us. That's the first step. And that's done in a way of doing things that we do things here. We heal this split. What's the second thing? Once that split is healed, we have to pick our vocation, our business, from a part of us that is so true, so not what the neighbors want, so not what my father wants, so not what my kids expect of me, but so true to us. And the medicine can actually, ayahuasca can help us with that picking, but so true to us. And then we have to pick it and make an agreement with it that we're going to go at least 10 years. At least 10 years with it. It's a relationship, a marriage, a union. And if you can't do that, if anybody's selling you something that says there is some easier way, they're lying to you. It's so simple. They're just fucking lying to you. They're lying to you. So let's do this. The time is coming anyway. Let's do the hard things. Let's do the work and go the hard way. Now, a lot of you say, well, listen, I don't have enough when it comes to starting a business. A lot of people are saying, look, I don't have enough money to start. If you want to open a bakery, start with one cookie. You have enough time and enough money to make one cookie and give it away. And keep giving them away until there's a line for your cookies. And then people will start buying them. And once they start buying them from you and you're baking them in your little kitchen at your rented apartment, then at some point something is going to happen and the orders are going to outpace the space. So what is this? You don't need to raise capital. You need to raise customers. You don't need to raise capital. You need to raise customers. So in this business, whatever business your dream business is, and if you're sitting in there in the bank today, I always use the term the bank, but if you're sitting in there in the bank and you're thinking, well, I don't want to spend 10 years at this, then you better start getting to your heart and finding out what your heart wants. And then pick that thing and start with one at a time. And I'm going to tell you, you can start with one at a time and do amazing things. I had a friend who passed away 4 years ago, and his grandfather was a guy that used to sell nuts, these roasted nuts, on the streets in Texas. And he was fucking good at it. Really, really good at it. And these nuts, I think, were amazing. Because his name was Ward Lay. And they ended up owning Lay's potato chips and Pizza Hut and Pepsi Cola and all that from selling these nuts. In his spare time. I'm going to tell you, the same thing happens today. It's the same story again and again and again. That these overnight sensations that happen in a decade, they happen over a decade. So whatever you're doing, check yourself. And I'm going to tell you what, check yourself, okay? Because there's a definition here. Hell is knowing what you want and not being willing to do what it takes to get it. Hell is knowing what you want and not being willing to do what it takes to get it. And heaven is knowing what you want and making that first step towards it. Once you're going towards the thing that's going to give you everything in 10 years, your life gets happier, you get more positive, better stuff starts happening to you, and that is the absolute truth. This is all truth. This is all real, and it's all happening right now. All of this is happening. How you're lining up right now is telling me where you're going to be 5 years from now and 10 years from now. Fact. So by all means, get with it. Get with it. Check your heart. Are you in something that you can wait that long for? And if you're not, let's start on the side doing something else that we love. This is the things that the medicine can teach you if you let it. Time is something that keeps going. It's coming at you. It's coming at you. And I want to tell you, there's something I really don't like seeing. I don't like seeing people in their 70s and 80s where they're getting by on a little tiny Social Security check, and people have turned their back on them and their friends have died and all that. That's not cool. And I'm going to tell you, that's when people were living to 78. This is coming in your lifetime, that people are going to be living to 108. I swear to you. And it's stem cells, and it's not far away from completing its cycle. So by all means, we're going to be working longer. You don't want to be starting over 53 times, 2 years each time. That, it's death. You want to be in it for the long run. You want to be in it for the long run. And look at, I don't care if you're 66 and you hear this and for the first time it makes sense. 76 is coming. If you live to 66 without an accident, you're going to live to 76. So 76 is coming. And I'm just talking to the 22-year-olds and the fucking 18-year-olds and the 38-year-olds and the 48-year-olds and the 58-year-olds. 10 years is coming. Do the right thing so 10 years from now, you can sell 1/10 of your time for 10 times more money. Boom. That's it. So follow me. If you do it right, 10 years from now, you can sell 1/10 of your time for 10 times more money and work 90% less. That's the truth. That is the truth. But you got to do the work now. If you have a clothing company idea, make a pair of pants. If you want to open a hair salon, cut someone's hair. If you want to be a baker, bake some cookies. If you want to be a healer, put a little thing at work. I'm now doing healings for free at lunch hour, and watch people line up. Watch them line up. And pretty soon, you won't be giving them away. You're going to be selling them. I promise you. I promise you. And the better you get at it, the better you're going to be at it, the more people are going to want what you have. And I want to tell you something. From a merged place, when you're doing the thing that you love, all of a sudden, your job is love. You are in love with what you're doing, and life looks, feels, smells, and tastes differently. So get with it. Please get with it. I am telling you, I see people here every week. And then every week, we just had an article in the New York Times. There's people over 75 here. And when I see them get it, I realize that it's never, ever, ever, ever too late. It's never too late. So please take advantage of this now, so that 10 years from now, you're charging 10 times more for what you're doing. It's just simple stuff. Okay, guys, I want to see you at Rythmia. I want you to do this thing. Everybody in the world is talking about this place. They are. And over the next couple of weeks, we're going to announce some expansion plans for Rythmia. But everybody's talking about it, and pretty soon there's not going to be enough beds. We already have that. About half the time here, that's not true. About a third of the time, we're in an oversold situation, and that's going to turn into 100% of the time. So please come here. please, please come here. And please have this happen to you. If you want to come, dial this number, 1-866-936-9446. Hi, Fanny. And I want you guys to come. Just opened up a barbershop because of my ayahuasca experience. Up until then, I was broke. Now I'm so content. Good job, Marina. That's the shit that I'm talking about. And now stick with it. Stick with it. Stick with it. Stick with it. And I want to tell you, all these people that talk about, well, they had this idea for this bouncing ball, that da-da-da-da-da-da, and the ball sold trillions. That's not what I'm talking about. I am telling you that there's a barbershop in your neighborhood that does such a fucking good job, and they've been doing it, and the guy's a master, and they're lined up down the road. I am telling you that there's a million restaurants, but there's Pink's, and then there's Joe Stone Crab, and where people line up because somebody got so good at something, like the Soup Nazi, right? So it doesn't. You don't have to reinvent the fucking wheel or to create a internet app or do shit like that. Although they're all great ideas, all you gotta do is do the thing that you love, and get to the point where you master it, and you're home. You're home free. So please, again, it's Gerry. Please come to Rythmia. I'll be here next week for you. And please tune in again next week and we'll talk about some more stuff. We have a beautiful week. We're oversold. Taita Juanito. It's a crazy, crazy week. We're looking for 100% this week. And we love you guys, and we'll talk to you next week. Until next week, God bless you. God keep you. God hold you.